This video is part 2 of the series titled, Why Was Jesus Crucified? Jesus is the main religious figure of the Christian religion. According to legends, Jesus was crucified on a wooden cross, as demonstrated in this picture. His legs were fastened to the vertical part of the cross, while his arms were fastened to the horizontal part of the cross. The first video in this series addressed the question, why was Jesus crucified instead of some other form of torture? The first video claimed that Jesus was crucified because crucifixion is an especially painful form of torture for a human being with a high energy level, and Jesus was a high energy level human being. According to Happy Theory, the people of his day said Jesus was holy because the word holy is what the people of that time called human beings with a high level of energy. The first video stated that a human being with a high energy level would have curved shoulders like the one shown in this picture. When those curved shoulders were pulled back flat against the wooden cross, as shown here, they caused excruciating physical tension in the connective tissue between the head and the shoulders. There was another part to the legend of the crucifixion of Jesus that was not mentioned in the first video. In addition to being crucified on a wooden cross, the legends say that a crown of thorns was placed on the head of Jesus. Here is a drawing of Jesus with a crown of thorns on his head. This video addresses the question, why was a crown of thorns placed on the head of Jesus? The answer to that question seems obvious. Here is a picture of an example crown of thorns. The pointy thorns of the crown dig into the head hard enough to cause bleeding. It seems obvious a crown of thorns was placed on the head of Jesus, so the sharp thorns would poke Jesus in the head, causing pain and bleeding. That answer is true as far as it goes. Sharp thorns poking into the head of any human being will cause that human being to experience pain and bleeding. In light of the claims of the first video, though, which stated that Jesus was crucified because crucifixion was especially painful for human beings with a high energy level, it would be reasonable to wonder if placing a crown of thorns on the head of Jesus was also done because a crown of thorns is an especially painful form of torture for a high energy level human being. According to Happy Theory, the answer to that question is yes. A crown of thorns was placed on the head of Jesus because a crown of thorns is an especially painful form of torture for a high energy level human being. The reason that a crown of thorns is an especially painful form of torture for a high energy level human being is that the body of a high energy level human being will usually develop a ridge of soft tissue encircling the upper part of the head, approximately in the area enclosed by the rectangle in this picture. If the picture of the highlighted part of the example head is compared to the drawing of Jesus with a crown of thorns on his head, the crown of thorns looks like it is at approximately the same location on the head of Jesus as the rectangle is on the head of the example human being. The implication of the comparison picture is that the thorns in the crown would be poking into the ridge of soft tissue encircling the head of Jesus. While this picture is good for demonstrating the vertical level at which the ridge of soft tissue develops on the head of a high energy level human being, it does not provide a clear view of what the ridge of soft tissue itself looks like. Here is a picture looking down on a human head. This head has a round circular shape, like the round circular shape of a crown of thorns. If you look carefully at this enlarged picture, you can see the ridge of tissue encircling the head. This picture proves the claim by Happy Theory that a human being can develop a ridge of tissue encircling their head. In this picture, a crown of thorns was superimposed on the ridge of soft tissue encircling the example head. This picture clearly demonstrates how the thorns would poke into the ridge of soft tissue encircling the head. According to Happy Theory, that is the reason that a crown of thorns was placed on the head of Jesus. Jesus was a high energy level human being who had a ridge of soft tissue encircling his head, like the ridge of soft tissue encircling this example head. The people who crucified Jesus knew that the thorns in the crown would poke into the soft tissue encircling the head of Jesus, causing excruciating pain and bleeding.